Hey you guys, what is up? My name is Karen, aka cakedbybabyk, and today we're doing a beach/pool day makeup routine. This look is very minimal. There's no foundation. It's all about enhancing the features that you already have, your skin glowing from within, and most importantly, staying power of the makeup. So let's just go ahead and get started. Okay, so before I get started, there's also a dog outside that's been barking nonstop, so if you hear that, I'm sorry. It's been barking for like 10 minutes and I need to start filming. So before we go into all the makeup, you're gonna wanna prep your skin, which is the most important part, especially if we're not doing foundation. What I like to use is the Neutrogena Hydra Boost Water Gel. It's my everyday moisturizer. I use it morning and night. And after I do that, I like to use the e.l.f. Hydrating Gel Mist. This is just super helpful for making your skin supple and making it just so nice and hydrated. I've talked about this before, so I won't talk about it again, but I've been loving that one lately for every day, not just for pool or beach days like today. Then I'm gonna go in with a sunscreen. This is hands down the most important part, especially if you're spending all day out in the sun. You're gonna wanna protect your skin. This one has an SPF of 30. So if you wanna do foundation, that's totally fine. It's gonna be a little bit more coverage if you have imperfections that you're not secure about and you want to cover it up. That's totally fine. Just make sure that you pick something with an SPF so your skin is protected from the UV rays. I'm going to be using the Aveeno Active Naturals today. This one is a lotion sunscreen, so I use it on my face, and I can also use this all over my body, which I will. Make sure when you're picking a sunscreen, you pick one that's for the face, because those tend to be less oily, less greasy, and they tend to not be as sunscreeny as other ones, if that makes sense. So make sure to pick a really nice one. Sunscreen is always an investment. So just go ahead and apply that. Make sure to get all the way down to the neck as well. The eyelids, just slather your face. Okay, so next that we have our skin prepped, we're gonna go in with the brows. You're gonna wanna pick something that has a lot of staying power. If you are going to fill in your brows, you can totally leave them natural if that's what you like, or you can leave your whole face natural and just like not be bougie and high maintenance like me. But for those of us that need a little bit more help in the brow area, you're gonna wanna pick something that is waterproof. For me, that is the Anastasia Dip Brow. This is in the shade Dark Brown. I've used this for every day. It's sweat-proof, waterproof, it's amazing. So I'm gonna use this with a Anastasia number 12 brush. It just comes with an angled brush and a spoolie, and we're not gonna go too heavy-handed today just because we are doing a more natural look. So I'm gonna show you guys how I do my brows for just natural light days like today. I'm gonna zoom you guys in real quick. Hello. So I'm just gonna dip in ever so lightly into my dip brow right here. And we're gonna start at the bottom of the brow. I'm just gonna do one brow for you guys so you guys can see how I do it, and I'll do the other one off camera. So here's what I do. I just like to do hair-like strokes that go in the same direction of where the hair is growing. You wanna concentrate it more at the base of the brow. And not so much at the top, and you'll see why in a few moments. And make sure to spoolie that out so it's not looking too dark. I have some dark patches here, as you can see. Okay, and now we're gonna go in and just fill in the top of our brow, also going in the same direction as the hair is growing. Just super light strokes. And you, by all means, do not have to use something as expensive as the Anastasia Dip Brow. I'm sure there are a bunch of dupes at the drugstore for it. I know NYX has a really good pomade for the brows. Okay, and then so there you have it. I like to keep them as clean as possible when I'm filling them in, so that way I don't have to carve them out with a concealer, but if you want to do that, that's what I'm going to do and show you right now. So I'm going to do the other brow off of camera and I'll be back. Okay, so now both the brows are on, and this is totally optional. If you want to carve them out, you totally can. Just make sure to use a concealer or a foundation that is the closest to your skin tone and not a highlighting concealer. So I'm going to use the ColourPop concealer. This is the shade Medium 30. This one's a little bit lighter than my skin tone, just because I don't have a concealer that's my regular skin tone. But if you want to do this, make sure to pick something that's close to your shade. And I'm just going to do underneath my brow. I'm not going to do the top of it because we want to keep it more natural. But concentrate it in the center and then blend that out to the rest of your brow. This way, it looks effortless and barely there. You can see that. Ooh, yeah. Woohoo! And you can see that already makes a big difference if you look at these two. See how it makes the brows pop a little bit more? There's a difference between these two. I'm going to do the other brow off of camera and then I'll be back. Okay, so now those are done. Like I said, you want to use something that's water resistant. You can also use a pencil if you know that it's waterproof and it's your tried and true. That's totally fine. Just make lighter strokes. I really like the way my brows turned out. I didn't carve out the top because we do want to keep it natural and more fluffy than usual. I usually run a brow gel through my hairs after doing my brows, but we're not going to do that today just because that tends to smudge a lot and they don't tend to be waterproof. If you can find a brow gel that keeps your hairs in place that's waterproof, totally fine, go ahead and do that. But we're gonna move on to the rest of the face now. We're gonna do a little bit of highlighting just because we aren't doing foundation. We wanna do a more dewy, how many times am I gonna say dew? We want a more dewy and sun-kissed look. So for highlighters, you really wanna go with either a liquid highlighter or like a putty highlighter, something that's wet and not powder. Powder tends to rub off of your face as soon as it hits the water. Some liquid glow, I really recommend the CoverFX highlighting drops. These are super, super blinding and it stays on your face for a very long time because it is liquid. It's gonna dry down and adhere to your skin a lot better than a powder would. Also, what I like to use is the Stila Starlight Star Bright Trio. This is actually a putty highlighter. I mentioned this in my favorite highlighters video. I love this for the beach and for the pool specifically when I don't want to wear foundation. I really want this nice wet looking highlight that's also a gorgeous sheen. So what I like to use is this bronze shade right here because, you know, who doesn't love to be like bronzed and tan at the pool? I'm gonna take this e.l.f. Sculpting Face brush. It's really similar to the Fenty foundation brush, and I was actually watching Priscilla Ono do somebody's makeup with like their highlights, and the brush that she used, it makes all the difference with making it look natural and just a beautiful glow from within. So I'm gonna take that bronze shade. I'm just gonna take it on this brush just directly. And since it is a curved brush, it's gonna hug your cheekbones really nicely and it's gonna make it look even more natural. So we're gonna go here. You don't even have to cinch in your face or anything, just feel where the brush is gonna go by your cheekbones. You do the same thing on this side. And you can tell it's not very glittery, it's just very subtle. I wore this to the beach yesterday and literally like this, after a couple of hours of laying out, like you're gonna sweat a little bit and it's just going to look all like sweat and a natural glow, but like a really nice sweat, you know? I'm also gonna take this onto my nose right here. And you don't want to be too precise about this. You can be super messy because honestly, it's not about looking perfect. I'm gonna put this on my chin. I'm also going to take this brush and stamp it above my eyebrow. And again, it's gonna fit perfectly up in here. So already with that, you can tell I have like a really nice sheen all over my face. I'm gonna use the CoverFX dewdrops later on my collarbone and my shoulders so I can show you what that looks like later on if you want to do a more liquid highlight. Don't by any means feel like you have to buy this specific highlight to achieve this look. There are a bunch of alternatives. Liquid glow, you can even use like an oil mixed with some shimmer. That's totally awesome if you want to do that instead and just like rub it all over your body. Okay, so now that we have the highlight, we're gonna, oh shoot, I just stabbed my contour palette. I cry. Alright, and that got onto my carpet. I love it, I love it. I'm gonna have to clean that up later. We're gonna go in with some bronzer now, and I'm using the e.l.f. bronzer palette. I actually got this as part of a free gift when I spent $25 at their store. It came with this and like 5 other items, so it was like super worth it. We're just gonna go in with this shade right here. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it does have some glitter in it. I really love to use lighter bronzers with shimmer for days at the beach or the pool just because it gives this really nice, effortless effect. And of course, I'm not using a shade as dark as I normally would. I'm just using this for a light wash of color, bring some dimension into the face. And the shimmer in this bronzer is gonna make your skin glow even more. It's gonna take it to that next level, especially if you're going to mix it with the highlight. You wanna get that nice blend, no lines of demarcation. Also gonna run this over the nose. Do your forehead if you want. I normally don't do the forehead, I just do the cheeks and a little bit on the nose. Maybe on the bottom of the chin. Just to make it super natural. There's only a slight difference when you apply this, which is nice, that's what we want. Like, you don't want people to come up to you and be like, oh yeah, she's totally wearing bronzer today. So just something slight. Okay, and that's that. You can already see that it makes such a huge difference just with the highlighting and the bronzer that you just like look more fresh faced and it's just like, ooh. Okay, and now we're gonna do a little bit of concealer. I know this is like a no foundation routine, but I usually pop on a little bit of foundation on my under eyes just to cover that up and make me look more awake. So right now I'm going to be using the Maybelline Superstay Foundation in the shade Golden. So I'm going to be using this one. This one is the closest to my skin tone, and what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to take my finger on this, just straight on the foundation. Just going to dab a little bit up. And what I'm going to do is just going to use my ring finger. You always want to use your ring finger when you're patting things in the under eye. This is the finger that has the least strength, so it's going to be super light-handed. And it's not going to damage your under eye in any way. It's gonna make that look super effortless and airbrushed. See what a big difference just that makes. Like, I look so much more awake right now. And for this one, you do want to use a foundation or concealer that's close to your actual skin tone. We don't want to use a highlighting one because that's going to bring like all the attention underneath your eyes. Like, why are her eyes like lighter than the rest of her face when she's not wearing any other foundation? Like, that's weird. So you want to pick something that's close to your skin tone and just look how refreshed I look. Just, ooh. Okay, and then after that, you're gonna wanna set that concealer just because it is a cream. I'm using the Maybelline Loose Finishing Powder. This one is in the shade Medium. Also, you wanna use a powder that's close to your skin tone as well. This one's a little bit darker than what I normally use, which is great because you don't wanna do any brightening underneath the eye just because we wanna avoid the, you know, whole white under eye that looks totally imbalanced with the rest of the face. And I'm gonna use a brush to do this. I'm just gonna take this BH really big under eye brush and I'm just gonna dab it right in here. We're not gonna do any baking, we're just simply setting the powder underneath our eyes. I know, Karen, not baking, like what the heck, that's crazy. And it's just gonna make this look super natural because it is the same shade as our skin. I love these powders. They're super amazing and affordable. I just started using them and I'm hooked. And for this next step, I know when I say it, you're gonna be totally amazed because I never do this. We're gonna put on some blush. I know, I never put on blush, but I just feel like when you want to look sun-kissed and nice and glowy and bronze when you're at the beach or the pool, like you have to put on blush. Like, you just have to. So I'm going to take the City Color Intense Blush Palette. I'm going to use this light, more neutral shade right here. I really would recommend like peachy tones if you could, but anything light is going to be awesome. So we're not gonna go too hard with this. It's just gonna be a light wash of color. Just dab that on. Start at the apples of your cheeks and work it back. I'm also gonna put some on my nose, just because I've been loving like that sunburnt look. There we go. Nice. Okay, and now we're going to set the entire face with a little MAC Fix Plus. This is the GoldLite one. This is really gonna help when you're in the sun and the light's just gonna catch these little reflective particles that you're gonna spray all over your face right now. So I'll just go ahead and set all that. Okay, so now that we're almost done with the face, we're gonna do the last thing, which is the lips. And I really like to use a Nourishing Lip Balm or something. Definitely don't have to do any lip color. You totally could if you want, but we're gonna go a little bit more natural. This is just the Bath & Body Works Mentha Lip Shine. It's super nourishing, super shiny, feels amazing on the lips, and it has peppermint oil, so it's just gonna be a little bit cooling and tingly, which is perfect for when you're feeling hot at the beach. It's just like the perfect pick-me-up. So now I'm gonna teach you how to bring that glow down to the rest of your body with the CoverFX drops. I actually haven't used these in a hot minute, so I'm excited. I'm not even gonna get anything in the dropper. I'm just gonna use what's already on here. Ooh, yeah. You're gonna wanna highlight the collarbones, just like that. And what I'm gonna do is something else that you can incorporate into your routine. I'm just gonna take a damp beauty sponge, and this is also really great for pouncing highlight into the skin, especially liquid highlight. I used a brush. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can totally use a beauty blender if you want, but I'm just gonna pounce that in. This makes it super natural. You can also like shrug your shoulders a little bit and see where that highlight is on your collarbones. You can even take it so far to like add a little like contour in there, but I'm not gonna do that today. But that's a trick for you guys. Just gonna highlight the shoulders. And if you do want to do foundation on this routine, that's totally fine. Just make sure to set it so it has staying power, it has an SPF. Also, if you want to do a little bit more glow, you can totally mix in some liquid highlighting drops to get that nice glowy effect. And that is it for this finished tutorial, guys. I didn't put any mascara on because I don't have any lashes anyways and it wouldn't show up. You guys can totally do mascara if you want, just make sure it's waterproof. And I think this is the completed look. I really love it. I wore this to the beach yesterday and it held up pretty well and I was sweating like a pig. You can also take a setting spray. MAC Fix Plus is an awesome one, and take it with you to the beach. When you get hot, just spray a little bit more, just slather it on. I really hope you like this tutorial. I had so much fun filming it for you guys, and if you decide to recreate it, make sure to tag me on Instagram and Twitter. It's the same as my YouTube handle, and that is it for this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, thumbs up, all that good, and I will see you guys in my next video.